Good afternoon. Welcome back to Lunch with Lisa. And we are at episode 27, but we have Stacy Wells back for her second episode. If you've been watching on YouTube, Stacy is actually, now you're in third position. Actually, Bob Kramer took second the other day, and we had a country music star that's got number one, but you have the third most viewed YouTube webinar. And so thank you for coming back on. People have been telling me all about how it's been great to have all the business advice, but they really needed the beauty advice during this time while we were all quarantined. And when Stacy and I were talking the other day, she was telling me that people are having challenges with beauty that they didn't even anticipate. Maybe it has to do with your nails or your skin. And so she's going to go top to bottom talking about different challenges that people are having. And actually, Stacy, to properly introduce you, Stacy is the CEO of L'Esprit Academy, which is a chain of cosmetology schools in Michigan. And but Stacy and I go way back. We actually grew up together. We were on the gymnastics team together growing up. So we've had a good time watching each other and each other's success, and also be able to call each other as CEOs and women trying to run companies. And of course, during the pandemic, being able to share the different challenges that we've had. So I very much appreciate her friendship, and I'm glad that you're back today. So
Lisa, thank you so much. This is great. Tell Bob I'm coming after him after this one. I'm going to have to pull out all the stops today.
That's right. Well, and thank you. Rena has mentioned that we have the blonde bombshells, and this is the perfect thing. Stacy's roots, of course, are where they should be, right? Well, she says there's regrowth. That's nothing like what we've got going here. That. I took Stacy to heart after the last one. She told us to leave it alone. Don't touch it. Let your hair have a breather. Let your nails have a breather. My nails have not been without being perfectly manicured, dip, gel for at least 12 years. They don't even know what to do with it, and they're very weak at the ends. We're starting to see some really strong growth about halfway through. But I've taken all of your advice so far, but I am struggling with all this root, Stacy. So what are we doing?
Now's the time to start thinking about your next step with hair color. Again, Lisa, thank you so much. We do go way back and have shared a really wonderful friendship through the years. Today, we're going to be talking about literally head to toe solutions for these challenges. And I thought we would start at the top and work our way down, and certainly any questions. I know that I may be called out. We have a lot of students on today. So if I say anything in error, I know they'll correct me because they're probably a lot smarter than me on this stuff.
So and we encourage people to ask questions in the chat. That's why you're here today. Absolutely. So yes, the struggle with hair is real. Diane just said.
How we come up with clever solutions is focusing on the solutions and opportunities, not really the problems. So bringing up the problems and saying, how can we, solve this creatively is really what we do really well in the beauty industry. Right. It's not just a black or white answer. There's lots of room for interpretation and creative interpretation. And that's what I love about this business. It's not just the science. It's the creative aspect of it too. But we are going to go into a little bit of science. Are you ready, Lisa? I promise.
I'm ready.
It's not like high school chemistry or anything like that. But I want to talk about hair and why it does what it does. And this is the reason I didn't want anybody coloring their hair at home. Think about each shaft of hair. The hair shaft is the hair that grows from the scalp out. Mm-hmm. It has scales on it, almost like shingles in a roof or scales on a fish. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's basically the layer of dead keratin cells that have added, that have layered up. So my hair is fine hair. I have a ton of fine hair. So mm-hmm. my hair looks very different than your hair, Lisa, because you have horse hair and thick hair. And you have a ton of it too. Yeah. It just sits very differently because the shape of the hair shaft is different and so forth. Mm-hmm. So what we do when we color hair, when we do anything from semi to permanent color, is we have to open up those scales, right? In order to release the existing pigment, our natural pigment, and then mm-hmm. put something in or just release it in a lightener.
Right.
Now, every time we do this, there is going to be some sort of damage because we're opening it up, and it doesn't naturally open up really. It sort of does based on other things, but it's all about pH, okay? Mm-hmm. If you remember back, your pH scale goes up to 14, 7 is neutral. Our hair is at about a 5, okay? So we need to make it more alkaline to open it up. So think of these things, and this goes for your hair and your skin. Anything with alkaline is going to open and swell. Anything with acid is going to contract, okay? So even when it comes to skincare products, things that have acids in it are going to tighten and firm, because your skin is a lot similar with keratin and amino acids, building blocks of our cellular structure, is a lot similar to your hair. So sure. Every time we do this with the scales on your hair, it can become frizzy, fried, all that look. So we have to treat those scales well. So gently opening them, not blasting them open, and also treating them well after we've done that through gentle heat, not tugging on it, not wearing really strong, super tight hair bands and things like that, because that is going to break that bond.
And that's what you talked me into, or not talked me into, you strongly encouraged me to stop using my hair dryer on high, because I'd be in a hurry and I'd grab that brush and I'd be taking it through on high heat. And you made me stop doing that.
I did. And I'm so glad I did. Because here's the thing, as we have talked about before, we're all in a hurry and we think hotter, faster, better, we're going to get it done in a hurry, when in reality, we're not doing ourselves any favors in the long run. So if you take a little bit of time, really anybody that has any sort of chemically treated hair or has fine or medium hair should never go above medium on your blow dryer. The only time you ever use a high heat is on incredibly coarse or resistant hair. So the alkalinity, opening those scales up will affect it. And that's why home care coloring and people overlapping and so forth, not understanding that you're not just putting dye and laying it on top of the hair. You're actually opening it and putting something in. That's going to cause breakage.
Which is why if you use the wrong product while we're home because you're impatient and you think you can do it yourself and you think you can look like it looks on TV, you don't know what chemical you're opening up and what you're doing for damage.
Right.
And if you've already had chemicals on it, right, because you've already done it, that's where all that damage can happen.
Absolutely. And there's so much chemistry that goes in it. I mean, water has a neutral pH. So that naturally is higher, is a 7, it's higher than your hair. So it's naturally going to open up your cuticle. That's why when your hair is wet, you can do the most damage to your hair. People like to comb it out and brush it out when it's sopping wet. Don't blow dry it when it's sopping wet. Let it air dry naturally. Get it to a point where then you can manipulate it as little as possible on medium heat. The other thing to get to do to
wait, back up. So don't wash it. So I do have to blow dry it wet sometimes, but what I've tried to do is get dressed and do other things, maybe do my makeup and let it dry as much as it can. So it's just more of a damp.
Yep.
Then blow dry it last. So it's had some time to not be soaking wet, right?
Yep. The other thing to do is when people go like this with a towel, which I've been known to do as well, you're really harming the hair. You're physically manipulating it far too much. Just squeeze it, like grab it with a towel, squeeze it, remove that moisture. Even they've got some really great towel wraps that you can put on your head, and that will help eliminate that moisture. But it's a great kind of beauty hack is to do your other things. Or what I do a lot of times is I shower the night before, shampoo my hair, and then I might just mist it in the morning and then just kind of freshen it up. But then think about these scales of a fish, right? Or the shingles on a roof. We want to shut those down. So another way to do it besides getting it back to either a neutral pH or more acidic, which is what we've got in a lot of our hair care products, like this is Fusionplex. It's hard to see because of this, but it's going to bring your hair back from that kind of alkaline state back to a neutral pH to shut that cuticle down. And
Stacy,
really,
let's go back to this. You're showing product, and I can't tell you how many text messages and emails I got after the last time you were on asking about the products you held up. If one of your students or someone from L'Esprit knows the products that you're holding up and could just type them into the chat as you hold them up.
Great idea. So
that would be a great idea.
This is Wella Fusionplex, and it's not something you need to use every day. I use it once a week, and it's designed to help repair and strengthen damaged hair. And everybody that has anything chemical or environmental on their hair is damaged.
Someone in the chat is also asking if air drying is great for product penetration.
Yeah, well, sure. Because if you have your hair is totally soaking wet, it instantly dilutes whatever you're putting on it. So, don't, right when you get out of the shower, don't throw your product in. Let it get at least some of that moisture out so that the hair can actually receive it. because otherwise it's coated in water and it's going to dilute it.
Got it. Okay.
Next really useful tool that people don't use enough is this button. A lot of our blow dryers, at least good ones, have a cool shot button. So I said alkalinity swells the cuticle, heat swells the cuticle as well. So if you hit it with a cool shot, it contracts those scales and it'll give a smoother appearance. So when people are saying, oh my gosh, I've used all these products on my hair to make my hair smooth, but it just keeps getting frizzy, it's probably too high a heat and they haven't used a cool shot. So make sure. Yeah.
I wish I had my round brush. I happen to have this next to my desk. Yep. Oh, you have yours. So if I was doing it, right, I'm taking my hair through from my dryer and I'm curling it. Maybe it's, look at, I'm tearing at it. Sorry. Curling it here and I've got the heat, but then I'd hit the cool shot now to cool it, right? Is that the right thing to do? Because that's what I do.
Let me go through a basic blowout. Okay. Because I think, so I blew out my hair this morning. And I haven't done that in a long time. It's hard to do your own blowout. It's not easy. When somebody else is doing it, they have a slightly better angle. So here's a couple of tips that you need to remember besides heat. Section your hair before you go for a blowout. So just grab some clips, section your hair. So at least 3 sections. You want your top section, middle, and then leave the bottom out. Start with the bottom, okay? And you're going to work your way up. Now, when you, your tool choice is important. Get a good blow dryer. And then there's a couple of different round brushes that I use.
Stop. What's a good blow dryer? Because remember, you threw away my red blow dryer.
I did, because it was a high blast heat kind of blow dryer. You want something that has some variation, right? Look for one with cool shot. Look for one with medium heat. It doesn't have to be a $200 one, and ionic ones are great. So ions work. Again, we can go back to a little bit of chemistry. It's about positive and negative charge. With positive and negative charge, you can get that hair cuticle to lie down a little bit better and smoother. But you don't need to spend a fortune to get a good blow dryer. The professional,
like $100? Like $100? Like we go to Ulta.
Yeah,
we go to Ulta. Can they give us the right one?
Yes. Yeah, Ulta has some great products. But you can spend $50 and get a great one too. But make sure it has certain functions on there that are super important. The other thing is good tools that you're pairing with it. Now I have this round brush. It's a good size for me for my hair length. It has nylon bristles, which are okay. I like the way they go through my hair because my hair has a tendency to tangle. But this has ceramic and metal. So what this does is this heat is like a really good partner with this. This blow dryer heats up your tool. So you're not blasting the whole time with your blow dryer, but allowing your tool to work. So let me show you how that works. So say I'm up here on this section.
And you put your heat protected product in too before you did it.
Which, by the way, thank you so much. I think every person should have this in their beauty counter. This is thermal image from Wella. And it's super light. I spray it on when my hair is damp. And then you can also spray it on. You just want to make sure you shake it. It gives a really pretty kind of soft, glossy look without using too much oil, like you had mentioned.
I put a little too much oil in today. You know, this is an important piece because I've been coloring my hair, spending zillions of dollars coloring my hair, clearly.
Yep.
Now we can see. And I was not using the thermal protectant, which my stylist has been telling me for years to do. And then I want to say it was like, 7 years ago, maybe, Stacy, when you were blow drying my hair and you were like, what have you done to your hair? And I admitted that I wasn't using thermal protectants and I sort of laughed about it. Well, for anybody who's known me since we were kids, my hair has never been this long, ever. It was always to about here. And that's because it would break and die and I'd have to cut it. And since I've been using thermal protectants, it's been able to grow. Now, my mother's watching. I'm 46 years old and she continues to tell me this is way too long for 46.
I love it.
I said, but I've never been able to grow it this long. And it's all because I'm using the right products that I can do it. And so it's like the first time in my life I've been able to grow it like this because it's so helpful.
There's 3 phases of hair growth, okay? Anagen, catagen, and telogen. Anagen is the growth phase, and that can last from 2 to 6 years. So the people with super long hair, they just happen to have a really long growth phase and their hair doesn't break. And then there's catagen when it rests and sheds, and then telogen is resting. Sorry, catagen is the shedding piece. So only like 85% of your hair is like in a different stage at any time. So that's why we're not completely bald, or we molt like a snake. But it's really important to know that the breakage is what causes a lot of that.
Yeah.
Say my hair won't grow. It's growing. You have a defined phase, growth phase, which is anagen, but you may be breaking it. And it may be through tight hair bands. It may be through too much heat. All right, so let's get through this so we know that. Keep in mind the direction of the airflow in your blow dryer will determine how that hair lays. So if you blow it all up, it's going to have that upward motion, and it may not lay down the way you want it. If you blow it in the direction, if you want a sleek look, blow it down, because that's where you want it to lay. So after I've take my round brush and I work it through, and I'm directing the airflow down. Sometimes I'll hit it at the top, so I get that little bit of volume bounce because I want the root to lift. And then I'm going to blow it down, and then I'm going to take away my blow dryer, but I'm not going to take away its partner, which is the brush. This is still hot. Okay. And it's still working. I will continue to work it and twist it. And that's creating that beautiful smooth. And think about that. Those scales are getting smoothed out on that ceramic and with the heat, and I'm running it right through the ends, and then hit it with the cool shot. Let it stay for a bit, and then let it go down. So that's what will create a non-frizzy, smooth look. And that's really letting your tools do the work and not just blasting it with a blow dryer and thinking it's going to be okay. Here's a great little hack too. So, these sort of like I call them like a sexy bang.
Yeah. I don't have them right now.
Yeah. She showed me this great little hack on how to get them. Because some people just blow dry them down, or can blow dry them across like this. But here's a great thing. Section your hair, blow it out. And then at the last bit, you can take just a little square section in the front, just a small section. And then everything else is dry. You can take your partner in crime here, and you're going to blow it like this, okay, back and forth. Same rules apply. Medium heat, let it do its thing, blast it with a cool shot, and then let it go. And it does this perfect kind of middle part swoopy thing. Super easy, and so you're not spending all this time with curling irons as well. So are we good on the blow dryer? We understand the chemistry and why we're not going to beat up our hair anymore, right?
Do you know the best thing too that I learned? That little piece on the end there that directs the hot air.
Nozzle.
So much more efficient.
So otherwise, this is a concentrator nozzle. That's when you can direct the airflow. It's so important, because otherwise the hair all around is working too. And next thing you know, you've blown it in the wrong direction, and it's a hard time. It's a battle to get it to sit back down.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the phases of the hair, why we're not going to do hair color at home. Now's the time to think about your roots. I did not color my hair this morning. I am enjoying this little deeper dimension in my hair. And I think I'm going to, and I can almost hear people cringing back at work because they're going, oh gosh, she's going to change her color again. But I was looking at pictures and I'm like, wow, my hair looks kind of solid. So this is a time where we can, and I looked at your promo picture and I'm like, Lisa's hair was a little solid. I love the dimension in your hair right now. I love the difference. I love the definition. I love the contrast. This is a time to call your stylist. Do an online consultation. Book your appointments now. 85% of hair services right now are going to be color services based on a survey from Wella. So people really want the color. Start your appointments now so that you can have that consult and maybe turn a 3-hour appointment into a 2-hour. Consider doing other things like I just usually do. I'm naturally what the color of my eyebrows are. And I just do a blonde color, a high lift tint from Wella. It's really soft and pretty. However, I think I'm going to let my natural color come in and do highlights with the color, not with lightener or bleach. So it will just have a little bit of dimension and it'll kind of naturally grow in that way. So think about that. Sometimes you just do because you've always done, It's really great to have these conversations now because you're in a different situation and you may like the look. And look on Instagram what other people are going through. I think you're going to see a lot of fashion changes based on these challenges we're having now. And it may be that we're going to see a lot of new growth. I remember when SJP came out and had the regrowth.
Jessica Parker.
Yeah. Why is she not retouching her? Well, that started a trend. So it's it's a pretty deep root, and where you can just do like either a color melt and do other things that may be a little bit easier to maintain as well, because with social distancing that's going to happen in the salons, we may not all be able to get in. Right. So
we have 5 minutes left and we've still got to get to skin. I do have one quick question though, because I've been doing it. You're going to tell me, because I've not had a haircut, that if I start cutting my split ends, like when you're sitting there like OCD, and you're like, really, I know that's bad, right? I thought about it last night while I was doing it.
Very bad, Lisa. Because you won't know when to stop.
I know. I have other things to do, and I'm sitting here like it's like an OCD thing.
So here, let me show you quick. Remember when I talked last time about it, like a great little hack for fringe? I'm going to do this on live webcast.
I wish I had my shears. Shoot, they're up in my room.
So here's a really great trick, which this could use it. I'm going to do it really long, but I just took a small section and you're going to twist it. And I talked about this before. And twist it. And then you can go through, and I'm just making sure I don't have mini bangs. And then clip it like that. I just took a little bit off. And now
I so wish I had my shears right now. I would do the same thing just for fun.
That's a really good way of taking it easy and not going for it up here. Okay. We're not going to do it.
4 minutes. Skin. What are we doing?
Skin. So skin is our largest organ of our body. We need to treat it really well. Start with, people are having issues right now because they're dehydrated. They're maybe not getting the amounts they're drinking too much, perhaps, but they're not getting vitamin D like we usually get in the spring. Vitamin D is